Hey guys, I hope you're doing well out there. Today I feel peaceful and I feel like making this video. It's about peace. Um, I'll just start off with things going on in my life. I've been having to work a lot. I've worked like 12 days in a row. I had a 16-hour day, 11-hour day, a couple 10-hour days, and I give a lot of effort. And a lot of people they're saying like, "Why are you working so much?" Well, I've been giving a lot. I would say I'm not 100% pure like when I give all like sometimes, but like this guy I know he told me a story about him and his wife. They need to come back to the U.S. Everyone I know thinks I'm insane and it intellectually doesn't make sense. And but I spiritually, you just sometimes you just kind of feel peace and want to give, and you just kind of feel it's the right thing to do, and you feel even if it again intellectually doesn't make sense. Um, but yeah, like my and they're not bad people, but like a guy I know, uh, another guy I know, they were both. I was talking to both of them, and they're like, you gotta be a man. You gotta have two kids, and you gotta focus on yourself, and make a lot of money, and don't give to people. That kind of makes you weak. You know, your value and all that. But I know I've always been eccentric and kind of different. And again, look how Jesus lived his life. He wasn't. I mean, what they're doing is fine. I mean, they're righteous people. They have good morals. They're in a good marriage. They're good people. I mean, don't get me wrong, but and I'm not saying anything against them or anything, but Jesus lived his life in poverty. He gave up his life for other people. He gave his money to other people. And it was 100% pure, like it was pure and within, and he wanted to do that, and he healed people. He healed the sick, the quote unquote lame that written in the scriptures or whatever. um, he lived his life, and so did Peter and Thomas, all the disciples, all those guys. They left that kind of life and lived for like Jesus. They gave up their money. They preached. They healed people. They did all these things, and that's kind of I feel in my life I'm a lot different than a lot of the people I'm around, which they're not bad people, and I'm not saying anything bad about them, but I'm kind of living like that. And sometimes, back to my point with peace, when I donated to this guy, you know, I gave, I'll just say it, I don't want to say the amount, but I gave quite a bit of money, most of my money to him, and I just felt really peaceful. It's kind of like at work when I'll give you another story. One of my coworkers, I think he might be an alcoholic, and at 7 o'clock one night I gave him a ride home. A couple of times before that I denied him because my job's giving me a lot of stress, and I tried not to be in that environment. But again, I think he might be an alcoholic, and so this it was like 7 p.m. this one night, and he was saying like, "Oh, this girl, she texted me a couple times, and she said that she gave me money a couple days ago, and she hasn't gotten back to me, and I really need gas money so I can get to work the next day because my tank's on empty." And a lot of people will around me, and a lot of people will say, and it's nothing wrong. Oh, that intellectually doesn't make sense, and you can't do that. Like, he's trying to take your money and do all these things. But, anyways, at 7 o'clock, I was like, okay, I'd listen. I was like, okay, whatever. And then at 10 o'clock, I felt really peaceful and like myself. And I felt, I just felt like, it's kind of like when I was in Miami and I bought a guy a sub. I'm like, I want to buy you this sub. And I just put the money down on the table with a smile on my face. He's like, what? Because I sensed he really needed it and he was really happy. Like, I did that a couple times down there. But anyways, with this guy, I was like at 10 o'clock, hey, can I fill? Do you still need gas in your gas tank? I'd like to fill it for you. He's like, in his face, like he's like, yeah, sure, yeah. And I was like, okay, after work, come get me, and we'll meet at Speedway or Murphy's, the gas station. So he parked his car in the gas, and his tank was like, he had a Honda Accord, it was like 15 gallon, like a 16-gallon tank, and like it filled it up like 15.5. And I was like, do you need something to eat too? I could kind of sense, if his money was tight and all that, and he might be an alcoholic. And a lot of people say you can't do that. He's just trying to steal your money and do all that. But I was like, I smiled. I kind of grinned and smiled. I was like, hey, do you need something to eat? And he's like, yeah. So I took him. Into Murphy's, and I was like, okay, get something to eat. So he got like some nachos with cheese and like Slurpee or something. And I was like, come on, man, you can get more than that. I don't care. And then I cracked a joke. I was like, as long as it's under $100, that'll be that's. And he just laughed. He's like, okay, I promise I won't do that. But he got like $8 worth of food, some crackers and like all that. But again, you know, I just feel when I do those things, I feel really peaceful. Like for me, I'm spiritual and emotional. Like I'm not really the prototypical man in the Old Testament. Like, oh, I gotta have a family and focus on supporting them. Like, I'm just like, I'll help these people and help these, but even if it intellectually doesn't make sense. Like Robin Sharma, he was like, you know, I would say I'm a lot like him. Like he can sense people's emotion. Like I mean, he just can sense. And he bought one time he was out to eat, and he kind of saw a woman. She seemed really sad by herself, and he bought her a piece of dark chocolate. And he or bought a piece of dark chocolate, a bar of dark chocolate, and walked up there and said, "Here." And she was like, "Oh my God, thank you." And she started to cry, like she was crying. And then he was like, "I can't believe you did that for me. Like, can you sign this piece of bar of dark chocolate? I'll never forget you." And they talked, and he was just saying, "Always be kind." That was the name of the video. Always be kind. Um, but yeah, I've had to pick up work and stuff just because of that. It's been really hard, really stressful. But again, I feel I'm good with emotion. Like I'm very sensitive, whatever. I can like tell when someone's like sad. Like if I go to a Subway and buy a sub, I can tell if someone has a hard life, and I'll donate a couple bucks. And a lot of people watching this will probably say, "Oh, you can't do that. Oh, you're silly. You're a goof. You're stupid, eccentric. You're insane." But just it's who I am. I'm sorry. But yeah, this message is peace, and I feel like again, spiritually, the main fruit of the spirit is peace. I think that's the main fruit of the spirit is peace. Like I won't ramble on too much, but like kind of like Star Wars, you look at a lot of the Jedi. That's kind of I feel like it's God's a spiritual thing, like your spirit or whatever. Like they're peaceful and serene. Like that's they keep peace and justice. Like peace, that's the main thing. So and I'll make another point like meditation. Like they meditate a lot. Just peace, prayer, all that stuff. Peace is the main fruit of the spirit, I think at least. So yeah, have a good night, guys. Bye, or good day, guys. Bye.